Fantastic. Here we are. Man, rougher and rougher. Give me some room here. All right. Welcome to Living with the Reaper. I am Stephen J. Cochran. I am the co-creator of Morticians TTRPG, our encounter box, the Crossroads, the Introductory Undertaking is now live on Drivethru-RPG, so go ahead and check that out today. We're going to talk a little bit more about designing campaigns, and we're going to hop in here into Arkenforge and build a map. So I'm super excited about that today. So previously we talked about different locations for Sanctuary Valley. When I created Morticians, Sanctuary Valley was designed around the Central Valley. But when you're building your game, when you're running your campaign, it doesn't need to be California. And so for today's map, I'm looking at the South Detroit area, just outside of Detroit, in the Michigan area. There's some farmlands. Fun fact, right across the river from Detroit is Canada, with a lot of farmland there as well. So, for our Canadian brothers, hey, how you guys doing? I know that there's a couple of local game shops who are waiting patiently for their LGS boxes from our successful Kickstarter campaign. So we're excited. We're still wrapping that up. We just sent out the finished Crossroads map to the developer and the manufacturer, and we have just sent out the tokens that are going to be printed. We've got the dice out there. The starting rule book is out at the manufacturers. We're updating the final touches on the funeral director's guide. That goes out, and so manufacturing can be in. We can't wait to get those out to you guys so that you can play at home with your friends and family. Really some fun and exciting stuff for our VIP members. We have a surprise for you. Can't talk about it. Mum's the word. But I think you guys will be really, really happy with the funeral director screens that we got for you guys. I'm really stoked about it. I'm really excited and can't wait to show you guys. And once we get those out and people get to open up their VIP gifts. So we really appreciate all of your guys' love and support for Morticians. And so let's get started on what we're working on today. Let's bring up a little window. So we talked before about campaigns in different locations, and for the campaign we were kind of developing, we created this idea that the Union traders have gone missing from Clearwater to Scavenger's Hold. Now, if you're fans of the channel and you've checked out the Wolfpack, you'll know that the Wolfpack episodes loosely ran across this idea that Morticians were called in to investigate why this trade route had members disappearing from it. In the last episode, we talked about motive. Why would someone attack a supply train? And so we have the good old-fashioned, the raiders, the bikers. Sometimes it's nomads looking for an easy score. Fun thing about the nomads is they are not good or bad. I'll close that down real quick. They're not good or bad. The idea behind the nomads is that scare people run, and nomads just kept running. So they're a mixed bag of people who believe that Bacteria Z attacked civilization and that any large clusters of people present a threat of the virus. So that's why nomads are neither good or bad. They're situational, and you get to play them however you want to play them. Sometimes they're just above scavengers, a little bit more organized. They're family units. Another idea we kind of talked about last episodes was like the cultists, religious fanatics who believe that their God is their one true God and all other heathens. Or we talked about possibly an unknown settlement in the area that is short on supplies and need to take care of themselves. So it's a little ambiguous in whether it's good or bad, right? And then as a funeral director, you get to play that up depending on the temperament of your players. If they're gung-ho, kill them all, murder hobos, then yes, you can make that settlement really, really, really like dark and bloodthirsty. You can even go cannibalistic in some of their tendencies. But if your table is more role-playing with politics and willing to talk and negotiate, you can tone that down and make that community a milestone or a stepping stone into what does it take to bring new settlements, new communities into your sanctuary valley. So we talked about dropping this just south of Detroit, and what does that look like? So let's go ahead and pop over to, let's see here now. Yeah, it looks like it's working just fine now. I'm really excited about this. So let's pop over here to Arkenforge and build a map for the first encounter for your Morticians. Now, I am not from the Michigan area. I born and raised in California. I did travel all over the U.S. in my early 20s, got to meet a lot of amazing people, got to see a lot of amazing towns, and one of the funny things is every town I went through had basically three things. There was a residential area, a commercial area, and an industrial area, some kind of manufacturing or whatever. And people tended to be just the same. No matter what town you go to, people are people at the end of the day, and they just want to live their lives. And so my experience in each of these towns was what I could get out of it. What I put in is what I got back. So if I was outgoing and I was talking to people and I was meeting people, they were excited to talk about themselves, their community. They were interested in finding out more about me. If I kept to myself and didn't want to talk to anybody, if I was in a bad mood while I was passing through the town, people tend to leave you alone. It's amazing how that works. So let's slide over. I am not from the Detroit area, so I wanted to kind of look at what's outside of Detroit. What's the wilds of Michigan kind of look like. And so here's some artwork that I found. I just Google mapped this. And Google Maps is a great friend for anybody who, for all funeral directors kind of like making content. And I wanted to see what the area looked like. And so let's zoom in here a little bit. So this is just along the highway, along the river. You see a lot of trees over here. In the background, we've got some high grass, some tall grass here, and I was curious, like how densely populated was the trees, and then I just a couple of feet from this picture here, I got to this side of the road here, and this is what right next to a river. The river's a stream. Is just maybe 20 yards beyond this greenery. And you can see all this really thick, dense vegetation. And then opposite of that, if you look up here, opposite of that, we've got this right here. This is the cemetery that was across the street, right? So these are some fun ideas for locations of what we can build. So let's go ahead and start building a map. I mentioned before that when I do maps, when I create maps, I work with certain dimensions for that map. And the reason for it is I have a television that people play on when we're all live and together. And when we stream and we want to introduce maps to the stream for Ladies of the Hoard and now the Zombie Trail and formerly the Wolf Pack, I found the best size for that map is about 12 to 22. So we're going to go, it's nice to get some nice little markers here. It's really great about Arkenforge. You zoom in and out, and it groups the squares by 5. So it makes figuring out your map size. Now, what I'll do is I'll go one square larger for the map. And this is so I can size things a little bit on Roll20. Because all of the VTTs that are out there are built around a square grid. And when you transition over to Hex, it's not impossible, but you have to kind of kind of play with it a little bit to make it happy-go-lucky. So we're going to go 13 by 23, and I'm going to have my dirt layer here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a little grass. As we saw over there, there's some, or we saw in the images there's some tall grass, right? So we're going to go grass. Just type it in the search bar here, and then it's going to bring up a bunch of different types of grass. So let's take a look at this first one. It's dark, foliage. What's that? Lush. Lush, I think, is going to be the winner here. And weedy. Let's try weedy. Let's see what weedy looks like. Let's go ahead and we'll drop this over here on our dirt. And the reason why I laid down the dirt image is as we get closer here, as we look at it, you can kind of make out the pattern of everything, right? You kind of zoom back. Your eyes, our brains are hardwired to find patterns and to figure them out. This is, I'm told this is from hunting during our more primitive times. And when you go out on the hunt, you're looking for breaks in the horizon to see if you can find your quarry or see a threat that may be coming. So what's really great about Arkenforge, I'm going to hit the selection here. I'm going to highlight the green arrow here, and I'm going to head over to tile. Okay, so we've got the tile here, and right here it says tile noise. We're going to click on that, and that's going to break up that pattern. So let's zoom back here, take a look at what that looks like. And it kind of looks like a black and green static from the old tube TVs. So I want it more green because, like I said, my idea for this location is that it is close to a water area. During the spring and summer in the Michigan, there's a lot of plant life. Things are growing. Things are alive. It explodes with life in Michigan. So I'm going to want it just a little bit greener. So we're going to change the noise scaling. So that makes everything smaller and tighter. Let's go a little bit bigger with everything. There we go. And then the noise addition. And I want to make sure that it's more green than dirt, more grass than dirt. So we're going to slide over here. And so let's go ahead and zoom in here. You see the thick foliage there, and then you can kind of see these dirt paths underneath. Now, like I said, we're in South Detroit, and we're going to say that this gameplay happens just at the beginning of spring. So I've never done this before. Let's check out, let's go over here. We're going to go to map building, assets, and I'm just going to check out. I haven't used this much, so let's see what we get. I'm going to just put in snow, see what kind of snow we get. And let's take a look here. All right, so... All right, let's see here. Snow. Sorry, something caught my left eye and I started looking at it. So this is snow blue, snow smooth, snow white. Let's zoom in here and get a better look at what snow white kind of looks like there. See what the blue. The blue looks more like an ice to me. And, this smooth looks like it could be like a fresh powder, but we don't want a fresh powder. So let's go ahead. We're going to go with snow white. And I'm going to change it because I don't want to cover all this ground that I just laid. What I want to do is I just want some pockets of snow here and there. I'm going to decrease the size. Now, once we're ready to move this over to Roll20, we'll get rid of all the grid lines. We'll save it just as is without the lines, and then we'll head over to Roll20 to see how it looks like. So what I'll do is I'll do a soft brush here. You notice I changed the brush size just a little bit. And I'm going to just kind of just some random stuff. Okay. So now let's see here. There, got some random snow there, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna select. See here. Go to layering. Layer stack. Okay, now I don't want the green. I just want, boom. Let's do that again. Boom. I just wanted all of the snow there. Go to settings, selection. Nope, map building. Go with me. Go ahead, select. Okay, color. There we go. All right, so control. Now I'm just going to hit control left click on all of my snow here. I want to see, what I want to try to do is I want to break up these lines even more. Guy here, and the last one's right here. Okay, so I've selected all of those. Go to tile and then noise. There. See, now I've got a kind of it's kind of broken up a little bit. And I want less snow because I want the snow to like kind of melted a little bit, right? Spring's here. There's still a couple of snow patches here and there, but things are slowly kind of melting away. And we're seeing less and less of that snow. So there we go. You know, and I'm not really digging these lines. It's a little too much. So I'm going to set them aside for right now. I have an idea what I might be able to use them for later. I'll play around with it a little bit. Okay, so now we've got some snow. So the idea for this one is that it's this random location between 2 points, right? So you have Clearwater and you have Scavenger's Hold, and there is a pre-cataclysm road, highway, street that was paved that your Morticians are going to be walking down on their way from one point to the other, and that this ambush site is a stop along the way. So one of my go-tos that I go to all the time is that I use, I'm just going to type in, I think it's road, and we get these all these different selections down here at the bottom. So let's take a look here. It's still kind of loading, and here's my go-to. Now it is, if these squares are 5 feet, then this road is going to be roughly about 10 feet across. Now, so what we'll do here is we'll start the road. Let's take a look here. I want to make sure the road is going to bisect your map. You can cut across, horizontally. You can cut across vertically. It's going to bisect your map. And the idea is this is what your Morticians are going to be walking down. So since we are dealing with hexes and not squares, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 3. Let's see here. Go down here, highlight it, go 3, enter. I want it 3 wide, and we're going to start off the map. We're just going to go straight down, like so. And there's our road. Go over to selection. Now, I always imagined, when I was typing this up last week, it's like a turn in the road. And 1 second, getting some love from my wife here. And there we go. All right. I love you too, honey. So I looked at this road. It's a turn in the street. So as they're walking down, there's so much trees and everything. They don't see what they're coming across. So what you can do is give this road just a little bit of life here. In Arkenforge, you have these 2 points, and then you have this middle point here. And what you can do is you just grab that, and you can bend the road however you want. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bend it. I don't want to bend it too much here. You grab this point here, twist it even more, stretch it out a little bit. And then let's say that this part of the road actually does one of these. Kind of straight. Maybe it's straightened out a little bit. And then we're going to just like that. All right. So now we have a nice bend in the road. And remember I had that snow from earlier, and I was like, I didn't really like how it looked, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and spin this. I'm going to move this snow right here. I'm going to get that. All right. We're going to say this is kind of just, the side of the road where the sun doesn't quite hit it. Excuse me. I have been burping quite a lot lately. This is a little annoying. All right, so that's good. So now we've got, this part of the map. Here's our ground layer. We got some snow going down here. We've got a road for our Morticians to walk down. So let's go ahead and throw down some scenery here. So let's see here. We can do bush. All right, we got some bushes. Now there's some rocky bushes here. You see how it kind of disappears in the background here, right? So what I'll do is I'll hit this randomizer here. Tip it off the side. Still kind of just disappears. So I'm not really happy with the color there. Try a different one. Here's just a tree. This is rocky bush. There's like a bush growing out of the rock. And we can see this a little bit more. And let's see what else we got here. We've got bush, thorns, and coarse. Here we go. Now, I'm just going to push these all over, and I'm just keep it random. What we're going to do is we're going to throw in some more trees later on. So I want it kind of thick and random. Because the idea is that the brush near the water is going to grow thicker. Just because winter comes around doesn't mean all the brush dies away. Just ask anybody in Oregon. So now we've got some trees. Let's get some trees going here. And let's see here. I'm not liking that. Let's see here. Yellow tree. Okay. Throw some random trees here. Now remember, it was dense along the road. Now I don't want to cover this up right now because what we're going to do here is I'm going to put a little, I don't know, like a house or a gas station that we can, you see me side-eyeing everywhere. I got the chat just over here on the left, and so I'm just keeping my eye on that. We're going to put a gas station or a small house. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and let's start putting some of that house together here. Now I threw down dirt before. Go dirt. See what we got here. There's a lot of dirty stuffs. Okay, let's see here. We got water, shallow dirt. Let's see here. What I'm looking for is rocky dirt. That is what I am looking for. Now, what we'll do is we're going to start right here. Just kind of have it go this way. And then same as before, click on it. We're going to hit that noise button. But this time we just want a little bit. Let's go and zoom in a little bit. So we just want a little bit That looks pretty good. We're going to hit selection. You see on the corner here, this is above the road. We don't want it above the road. We just want it underneath. So we'll go over here to the layering options. And let's see here. Just double check to make sure that this. So we'll go here. Okay. Move down one. Okay. Let's go back to move below, and then I'm going to click on the road. Nope. That means that one might be on the object layer and one may be on the terrain layer. So we're going to look that up real fast. Click here. And we're going to go over to... Where is my... what I'm looking for is, there it is, layering. Layering stack. Okay, so there's my road. Look all the way down here at the bottom of these bushes, and sure enough, right here is our rocky dirt. So we're going to highlight it, go to layer, and we want to move this. Let's see here. We want to move this to move to bottom. No, move down one. No, we want to move to terrain layer. Click on that. There we go. And of course, we've got these nice little grid lines popping up, letting us know that that's where that is. Okay, so hit the select that area. Now let's try it one more time. We just want to move below here. Now it's below the road. And then let's move it one more time. Let's go ahead and move below the snow. So now it's got a little bit of snow on it, right? All right, let's zoom back out. Let's take a look. Okay, so we have a little dirt road here. Say someone's driving down the road and this is how they get home. Do we want it? Now, I don't think anybody would put a gas station on a curve like that. So we are going to... We're going to put a house. So let's see. Now, one of the cool things about Arkenforge is they have these pre-built structures. If you run your tabletop on their virtual tabletop, these structures have a lot of assets to it where you can like remove the roof and have your players go inside. I'm going to be moving all this over to Roll20, which is what I'm comfortable with. I'm actually in the process of learning how to use Arkenforge as a virtual tabletop, and I want to see how that plays with my players in the future. I'm not quite comfortable there yet to where it's seamless for their interaction. But let's see here. We're going to go with a really old style home. I've got this house right here, and it's kind of facing the wrong way, but that's no bother. So we're going to click that right there. It's going to load up all those assets. Going to load all those assets, and then afterwards we'll hit the select. So as you can see, like you have, carpet and a table and some shelves and everything. If we go up a layer, there's the roof, right? So we're going to go back down a layer. Got the selection. We're going to hit it. And I want it so it's facing this way. There we go. So it's facing that way. So we can say that there's a front porch here. I'm going to probably go back and add some more stones for a walkway. There's not a lot of room for playing around here. So we're going to go ahead and move the house closer. Say right about there. Okay, so we're going to add some stuff back here. And okay, let's see your map. I want to put some stones down. Let's put some stones. I always do this. I plural. I don't know if you guys could hear my dogs. Neighbor's cat lately has been driving them nuts. Ooh. All right. You know what? Let me check up on them real quick, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. My dogs were enjoying yelling at the neighbors. All right, so where are we? So we wanted to put a stone path. Let's take a look here. What do we want with that stone path here? I'm going to scroll down here. Ooh, excuse me. All right. I think that's my huckleberry right there. Okay. So let's see here. This is going to be, it's on the terrain layer. Do that 10 times fast. I'm going to say, I'm just going to go over to that soft brush again. All right. Soft brush. We're just going to, right there. I'm going to double wide that right there. Scooch back here, and we're going to do the same thing back here. Double wide. Now I'm not gonna put noise on this one because I get the effect that I want with the soft brush. But what I am gonna want to do is I'm gonna move this. This is on the terrain. I want to move it down. I want to move it below the stone there. Let's zoom in here. So it's below the stone, but it looks like it's also below the greenery there. So it's just should be able to move up one. There we go. And we're going to slide over here. I'm going to do the same thing back here on this walkway, and we're going to go here. We want to move below. There we go. You got a little bit of that nice snow right there, maybe where the house is hitting. Now, the thing is about building these maps is I try to really think about what I'm going to do with the story. So we've got this nice little house with a little walkway. And then let's say we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in a car. Old family vehicle. The wagon. Let's see what we got here. So I put in car, I get carpets, carrots, everything in between. Now these might be from a pack. I think I purchased one of the post-apocalyptic packs, and then they have one that comes with Arkenforge. So we're going to take a look here. We've got, what was that rusty? It just says rusty. It doesn't say whether it's a van or not. So we'll say it's a van. Selection there, pick up the van. Now, as you can see, and I've noticed this with the cars, they're either too small or too large. So we are going to adjust it to the wagon here. Just like that. I don't know about you, but I've heard stories of Michigan winters, and so a rusty van makes perfect sense to me. All right. Now, let's go ahead and spread this out a little bit more. Map assets. Let's see if we got a shack. Shack. See what it gives us. See what it comes up with. And, sometimes I don't like the art assets. I'll end up making my own. I know for Crossroads, for the playtesting map that I created, I wanted a car lift. They kind of drive, they lift the car up so they can work underneath. I wanted that. It wasn't there. So what I ended up doing was I laid down a layer of grading on the map, and then I found some busted tank tread. And I changed the color of the tread to safety yellow, laid it on top of the grate, and then put some dirt tracks leading up to it, and it kind of it made it look like it was a lift for a vehicle. So that's really what's fun about a lot of this stuff, is you can poke around and see stuff and then repurpose it by changing the colors and everything. So here we go. We got a little shack here. And again, this is, get rid of that. It's still randomizing. So let's get rid of that randomizing and take a look at that. So, okay, so you see I've got the icon here, and it doesn't have a green box. If I click on this one, I don't know if you can see it. There's a green outline around it. So that means that it is an art pack asset with multiple layers and multiple things constructed in it. And what I wanted to do, I like the style of this, but I wanted a little bit more rustic. Rusties. Here we go. So here's a shack. It looks like it's corrugate, some greenery, maybe some poles are in it, but it's going to be, I mean, it's almost, if you look, it's almost as big as the house. So I want to make it smaller. I'm going to tuck it right here in the corner. Let it load those assets up. And then we're going to shrink it down. There we go. We don't want everything too square. And I'm going to run it off the map here. Right? We're going to run it, maybe not so much off the map. We're going to bring it a little bit closer. We're going to run it off the map here. And then what I'll do is, I just had an idea. So what we'll do is, your Morticians walk in, here's the encounter. How do we want to approach it? But also we want to leave breadcrumbs for potential like other stories. So what we can do here is I'll look up, we can look up ladder. Oh, my spelling. Ladder. Here we go. It's got a ladder here. We're going to drop that ladder right there. Ooh. That leaf's fallen from the sky already. There we go. So now we got a ladder there. Fun, right? Just again to show you, we pop back up, the roofs are on. This is what the finished map will look like. Now, what you can do, and I highly recommend it, is when we save the file, we save it from different layers, and then we load it into Roll20 in different layers, and that's your player's different player experience. So if they decide to go into the house and check the house out, you can switch over to that map and check out the house. If they decide to go to check out the shack, you can switch over to the shack's map and show that. So this is kind of our map so far. Let's go ahead, and I want to add more trees. Let's get a family of trees going here. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to line this bottom here. On the back. I want to get more bushes in here as well. Maybe here's a small tree that's trying to grow in the front. Don't want to lose that snow. Okay, so we got a nice little small tree. More bushes going here. Bush's baked beans. The thing with the bushes that I'm looking for really is, okay, sparse. We've got a sparse bush here. Let's say we got some. And that's one of the things about Arkenforge. It really makes this process easy for the user. I've been using it for, just a couple of months now. Probably about, oh my goodness, 13 months. That's how long I've been using it for. So I've been using it for about 13 months, off and on. And so let's get in closer. Let's see what we're actually doing here with these bushes. Yeah, so there we go. Grow a couple of bushes here. Yeah, I don't know if you know, so let's go ahead and zoom in on this tree. So this is what's really cool about, this is one of the neat things about Arkenforge, is if we zoom in here, you can see that the leaves, let's get rid of that bush there. Okay, you can see that these leaves are kind of flapping in a breeze, like there's a gentle breeze blowing through. And this is the reason why I want to get into the VTT aspects of Arkenforge for my players, is because unlike Roll20, it has more dynamic map making built into it. Roll20 has some really great funeral director features that allow for quick rolls and for setting up with character sheets, but it doesn't do dynamic maps very well. In fact, I don't think it does dynamic maps at all. And dynamic maps is kind of the future of role playing on VTT. It's definitely what's going to happen when D&D drops their VTT. The experience of the players getting that immersion. Some people don't want to do any maps. They all want to do theater of mind, and I love playing that way too. I can go both ways. But for the players who want the maps, who want the immersion, dynamic maps are the way to go. And that's kind of why I started really wanting to dive into Arkenforge's VTT, to have that experience, to kind of bring that to life, to share with you some of the pros and cons of it. So we are going to lose that when we save it to use on Roll20. So let's see here. We go in the back here. We got this nice little backyard. Got a little shed. And I think we're done. I think this looks great as for a user experience. So what I'm going to do, I'm zooming back here to capture it. I'm going to go over to settings. I'm going to go up here to grid. You know, I said earlier, I'm going to get rid of the grid so we can save it as a picture. And we're going to get rid of the grid, turn the grid off. So now we just have this. We just have the map like so. And we're going to go up here to export. And so you can go Roll20. When I'm working on other applications, or if I'm creating a map for one of the player's guides, or I will save as an image. But for dropping something into Roll20, I go to Roll20. It has presets for your pixels per inch and the file format. Now for Roll20, you can do PNGs or JPEGs. It really depends on what you want to do. What I find is that you kind of lose a little bit with the PNG. It's a bigger file size. If you're adding tokens and other interactions on your map, there's a little slippage there. We can talk about that later. So let's go ahead. We're going to do JPEG, initiate selection. We go up this up corner here. And here we go with the 23 and 13. So I just left clicked from the corner there. Pops this up. We're going to do start the export. And you guys can't see this, but it brought up a file share. So what I'm going to do is I've got the setup, and I'm going to save it as first encounter JPEG. Save. There we go. It's saved. Fantastic. And we're going to go here and hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining and checking out the video. If you have any questions about Arkenforge, or if you'd like me to try to attempt to do something, please let me know in the comments. We're going to be having a discussion with my wife about living with the Reaper. Oh, that totally forgot. Why Reaper? Why is it living with the Reaper? So it comes from the ladies of the Hoard, and I would watch them while they were live streaming the game. They'd have questions for me, and it started out with them calling me God. I wasn't a real big fan of that, even with a little G. So they thought it would be fun to call me Reaper. So whenever they had a question on the live stream, they'd say Reaper, and they would ask me that question, and I'd answer it to the best of my ability, which was all the time because it's my game. So I just explained the rules a little, the intent of the rules a little bit more. And so that's where Living with the Reaper kind of comes from, is this idea that I am the Reaper. There is a Reaper in my novel that's soon to be released this year. And there is no association between me and that character of the book. So thank you so much for watching the video. Next time we're going to drop this into Roll20 and play around with Roll20 a little bit. And how can we utilize Roll20 for Morticians game? And we'll talk a little bit more about the campaign, and then we'll talk about what happens next. What happens after this encounter? Maybe we'll create a couple of random tokens. I'll show you guys how to make tokens on the internet for your characters, for your games, and how I kind of approach that for the NPCs, so that your player characters have a world populated to talk with. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll check you out next time. Have a nice day.